One. Hey everybody, Sloppy Joe here. So bear with me. I'm getting over a bit of a lung, ear, nasal infection thing. So my voice is a little off, and I'm feeling a little blah. So just bear with me. We'll get through this. So today I want to talk about painting your AR. So as you can see, this has been painted. And it's got some wear and tear in it. It's been banged up, mashed up. Some of the paint's rubbed off, been chipped off, beat up, whatever it is. It's been used. A lot of guys who are thinking about painting their AR for the first time, we're going to go through that. It's really easy, especially if you just want to do a basic paint job. Now, I'm a big believer in just keeping it simple. You see a lot of guys that do these very elaborate, very difficult paint jobs with the leaves, or they do like a netted look, or they do like almost like a faux carbon fiber pattern into their rifles, and that's all well and good if that's what you want to do. But in general, my belief is the guys that do that and spend the hours of time invested in doing such a paint job, they're not likely to really go out and use the rifle as a tool. It becomes more of a play thing, a boutique thing, something to just show off to your friends, like, hey, look at my cool paint job. They're not going to go out and beat it up, use it, drop it. If they do drop it, they're just not going to do it. They're not going to do something like this, where they're just going to whack at the finish and knock the finish off and, scuff it up and stuff like that. I mean, and so now this is all scuffed up in here. They're just not going to do that with a paint job that they've spent hours on. So what we're going to go through is just what you need to do in order to paint your AR or repaint your AR. Now, I am a believer in solid colors. And if you want to do it right, you want to paint your rifle to the environment that you're in. Now, if you live in a wooded or a forest area, like very green, you'd want to paint your rifle like a olive drab green or a forest green. If you live in a desert environment, you want to do desert tan, etc., etc. Being in Washington State, I should make this rifle forest green, but I like tan, so I'm just going to make it tan. So what I do need to do is this stock is an add-on after I painted the rifle. So the stock and the rifle don't exactly match, nor does this forward grip. I slapped that on there just because we're going to go through. That's something new we can paint. This Magpul MOE grip, this was black. It's been painted. And we're going to shoot on a coat over this Primary Arms 4X optic. And I'm going to show you that all these things are meant to be used. They're all tools. They're meant to be used. And we're going to do the proper thing, and we're going to paint them just an easy paint job that's meant to be used, abused, and easily gone over. So you can see there's some wear here from my gloves right in there. Just wear spots where casings have come out, where my thumbs, just there's wear and tear on the paint. So we're going to go through, put a fresh coat of paint on this, and kind of give you guys the basics. So what we're going to use, excuse me, is just Krylon camouflage paint. Nothing fancy about it. This is just desert tan paint. So I've got on the stove, I've got some water boiling, because the ideal way you want to do this is get the paint hot. Ideally, you want to leave your rifle sitting in the sun for a little while, warm up the metal, and get the paint hot. And that just helps the paint adhere to the surface of the gun a lot better, helps it dry a little bit faster and more even, and just prevents a lot of runs. Not that we're going for necessarily beauty, but anything we can do to just help the process and help the paint is best. So let's go throw this in the boiling water and let that warm up for about 5 minutes, and we're going to go from there. All right, guys, so here we have the paint. It is boiling in some water, and all you want to do, like I said, just a couple minutes. Just enough to warm up the paint inside. You don't want to go too long because you don't want to run the risk of blowing up your paint in your kitchen. In my case, my wife would totally understand because she knows I do all kinds of wacky stuff. But your wife may not be as understanding as mine. So we're going to let this sit for about 1 more minute, and then we're going to go outside and get her done. All right, guys. So a few final things you want to do before you start this is you just want to wipe down any excess grease that's on the outside of the rifle, any oil, stuff like that, because that will keep the paint from actually sticking to your metal. And just give it a quick rub, you know, anywhere where you normally would over oil. And then you want to close your dust cover because you don't want to get paint in there. Ideally, you want to have a mag in the well because you don't want paint going up into the rifle. Make sure your optics have some kind of covers on them. And other than that, we're ready to rock and roll. Now I do this real backwoods style where I don't really cover anything. I don't take my straps off because this is all, it's all going to get used and abused and all that. So anyway, here we've got our paint warmed up, nice and warm. So let's hit it. We'll start at the front, work our way back. All right, so there's one side. We'll give it a few minutes, let the paint set up. We'll flip her over, do the other side. All right, guys, here we are. Let's hit the second side. We'll start at the tail end. There, done. That's all there is to it. Spent a total of 20 minutes. That's all there is to it. So, I'm going to let this dry it, and then I'm going to show you why we do it this way. Alright guys, so that is really all there is to doing this. Invested time, 20 minutes. Invested cost, $5 for a can of paint. It's really that easy. And as you can see, everything functions as normal. Let's see, we'll do that. You can see everything's still good. Everything works. You haven't messed anything up. Your bolt is still nice and clean because it's been covered. Magazine still drops away. Easy peasy. No big deal there. The nice thing about this Krylon paint is it's basically dry to the touch within about 5 minutes, but you probably want to leave it sit for 10, 15, 20, or overnight if you want to, whatever. But that's really all there is to it. Everything works. I haven't done any damage to my optic. Everything looks good. The glass is still nice and crystal clear. That's all there really is to it. I know guys like to make this way more complicated than it needs to be by doing all these fancy patterns and all that, but really, if you plan on using your rifle, that's all a big waste of time in my opinion. To each their own. If you want to do that, by all means, please do. That's your prerogative. But if you actually want to use your rifle and not be worried if it gets scratched, scuffed up, anything like that, you're definitely going to want to do simple paint, because with that, this is freshly painted. And oh no, now I've scratched up my handguard right there. But I don't care, because I can easily just go outside and paint that, and it's no big deal. In fact, I'm not even going to worry about it, because it's a gun, it's a tool, it's meant to be used. It's going to get scratches and scuffs and bumps, and when it gets too ugly, I'll shoot another coat of paint on it and call it good. So that's all there is to it. Simple always is better in my opinion, and cheaper is even better. So that's it. That's how to paint your rifle. If you have any comments, questions, post them below. Otherwise, have fun shooting out there, and we'll talk to you soon.